Hi friend, do you ever feel like standard leadership advice just doesn't work for you? Well, welcome to Leadership from Within. In this podcast, we will discover your unique leadership style. We dive into the world of MBTI and Big Five. We shape leadership strategies that truly fit you. Join us on this journey to find out the one-of-a-kind leader you are. Let's get started. Today we're joined by Joe Pulizzi, an ENFP leader and one of the world's foremost authorities on content marketing. He is the founder of 3 companies, including the Content Marketing Institute, and has launched numerous events, such as Content Marketing World. Joe is also the best-selling author of Content Inc., Killing Marketing, and Epic Content Marketing, which Fortune magazine named a must-read business book. In 2014, he was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Content Council. His podcast series, This Old Marketing with Robert Rose, has garnered millions of downloads from over 150 countries. ENFPs are often known for their innovative mindset, keenly spotting trends and opportunities ahead of others. They possess flexibility in their approach and thinking and are willing to venture into uncharted territories and take risks. When these traits synergize within an ENFP, they gain the remarkable ability to foresee and shape new trends. Joe's journey is a textbook illustration of this unique ENFP capability.
I started in publishing and had the opportunity to work in a smaller division of a large business-to-business company. And that smaller division was focusing on this idea of content marketing, which at the time wasn't even a thing. It wasn't called content marketing. It was called custom publishing and custom media. So this is going back to 2005, 2006. I just thought there was no way that this wasn't going to be a huge thing, because you had these companies that wanted to build relationships with their customers and prospects, but didn't have the operational knowledge of a media company to do that. These companies were just talking about themselves. They were talking about their own products and services, and nobody cared, and they didn't really understand how to build an engaging audience and community over a long period of time. So when I wrote, Epic Content Marketing in 2013 and then Content Inc. in 2015, they really followed just a very simple publishing mindset. I came from media. I understood what media operations were, and I just said, well, these companies are going to have to learn how to be media companies. And that's the approach that we took. So things like you see a content marketing mission statement, that's just an editorial mission statement that you would find in any company. If you look at who they would need to hire from editors and journalists and writers and videographers and production people and design, those are the same people that are hired on the media side. So what you've seen over the last few years is this migration of those people initially would have always worked at a media company. Now they're working for a non-media company or a company that sells products and services, or they're creating their own content creator business, their own content business, and doing it themselves. So it's not like this is rocket science. Content marketing isn't necessarily a new thing. It's been around hundreds of years. And even before that, as just media companies, it's a basic media model where in the middle is, if you build a loyal and trusting audience, you can sell that loyal and trusted audience a lot of different things. Some of that stuff is direct revenue, like I will sell advertising or affiliate sponsorships or training or premium products. And then on the outside are marketing goals. I'm going to build this loyal audience. And then hopefully, if I do that really well, they will buy more of my products or more of my services, or we'll be able to keep our customers more loyal, or we'll able to increase yield from those customers and charge them more money, or they'll spend more money, or whatever the case is. So it's, we've just seen this transformation of a marketing department really just become a media enterprise over the last 10 years.
ENFPs have a natural inclination towards authenticity and a deep-seated desire to form genuine connections. In the following segment, Joe delves into the principles of content marketing within a mature market. He also shares his thought process leading to these insights. A distinct strength of ENFPs is their emphasis on authenticity. This is clearly reflected in Joe's approach to content marketing, where he underscores the significance of relatable and genuine content in captivating an audience.
If you are a content creator in any size company and you want to build an audience as quickly as possible, leaning in on what makes you different is only going to help you. So if you look at the fastest growing, the most popular media channels today, they're generally run by a person who has faults, who does things a certain way, whether that's Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, or whether that's Matthew Patrick over at Game Theory, or it's Amy Porterfield on the marketing side. Whatever the case is, that individual is someone that their audience can relate to, and generally an audience grows quicker because of that. And influencers have been seeing this all over the place. So are you more likely to open a newsletter or a social feed from a company or from an individual? Absolutely. The research tells us that that's an individual. So if you can lean into that individuality and in what makes you you and your differentiation, you'll be more likely to cut through all the clutter that's out there already and build an audience. And that's the most difficult thing. I mean, we have so much content out there. We have more content than we could ever look at in our lifetimes. And if you're a content creator, how are you going to break through all of that? You have to be differentiated. We call this a content tilt. What is the thing that's going to differentiate you that you can cut through all the clutter, break through, and build an audience? So you have to figure out what your content tilt is. And that's generally leaning into what makes you you. And this is not anything new, but generally, creators didn't necessarily have the means to do this themselves, and they would do it as part of a media company. And now, because a content creator only needs a cell phone and doesn't need a lot of money to get started and build an audience, it's much easier to do that. You lean into your thing, and then once you build an audience, then you can create brands that you can leverage and scale that might not have your name associated with it. And that's sort of a model that works.
ENFPs are known for their creativity and ability to innovate. This extends to business strategies where they can identify unique opportunities for monetization. In the upcoming segment, Joe discusses how diversification can create multiple revenue streams from a single content platform.
So if you look at the basic content marketing model and what works, it's the same that works for media companies. And I've been a historian, followed media companies for a long, long time, whether that's the Financial Times or the New York Times or even Huffington Post, or any type of media company, and how they start very focused on doing one thing really well. So Huffington Post was great at just doing a blog to one audience well, and then it diversified into other areas. New York Times just did a newspaper, Financial Times newspaper, television show, same thing. It's just they focused on doing one thing really well, and that's the same today. So if a content creator wanted to build an audience and then monetize that audience, I would tell them, do one thing really well, just like a media company. So that could be a blog, could be a podcast, could be a YouTube channel, could be Instagram, could be TikTok, whatever it is. Build that loyal audience very, very well. And then when you build enough of an audience where you can monetize them, then you can diversify into other areas. And that's, again, this is just a general media model. So if you look at New York Times or Financial Times or Huffington Post, they started with one thing, and now they do all the things. They launched webinars, they launched events, they launched magazines, they launched podcasts, they launched newsletters. The New York Times has like 60 different newsletters today, but they didn't start out that way. So that's where a lot of marketing departments as well as creators go wrong, is they start by doing all the things and they diversify right away. So it's focus first. Then you look at monetization diversification, or how many ways am I going to drive revenue? You want to do that immediately. So it's exactly the opposite. So let's say you create this amazing podcast. You want to monetize that podcast as many ways as you can, as quickly as you can, so you can get enough resources to invest back into the overall company. So you could say, oh, okay, I have this podcast. I'm going to launch an event off of this. I'm going to sell sponsorship off of it. I'm going to sell my book off of that. I'm going to take donations, whatever the case is. You want to figure out how you can make as much money off of that as possible. So it's the exact opposite. So there's always diversification. It just depends on when you pull those triggers. And for revenue, it's a diversification right away. For building your audience, it's diversification after a period of time that you build an initial audience. And that's generally about 18 months. So you'll see a podcaster should go about 18 months before they, let's say, start a YouTube channel or another podcast to another audience or whatever the case is. That's where a lot of people end up going wrong, and they diversify too quickly.
Before the end of the first part of our interview, I asked Joe about some hobbies that have contributed to his marketing leadership success. Here's what he shared.
So there's a couple things that I do that have worked for me, and they've worked for a lot of people that I know that are in marketing or leadership. One is to read books that aren't about business on a regular basis. I have found in my 25 years in this business that those people that read like mysteries or thrillers or novels of some kind, and they do so on a regular basis, are just have better minds and thinking and are a little bit open to different things than people that don't read. So I'm a big proponent of setting a regular schedule of reading. So that's one. Two is some kind of regular physical activity is key. Now, mine is running. I run 4 times a week, and I have for a very long time. And I need that to sort of clear my head out. I'm always in a better frame of mind when I go ahead and run, and I get the runner's high from doing that, especially if I'm running a little bit longer or a little bit faster pace. And so whatever that is for you, it could be yoga, it could be running, it could be bike, it could be swimming, it could be basketball, golf, whatever it is that you're going to take your physical abilities kind of past the point of where they should be. It's really important to have as part of your regular setup. So that's kind of different things that I do as part of hobbies. And then travel is key. I absolutely feel that it's hard to be a leader and hard to think about how you can positively affect people without having a diverse framework of the places you've been and the people you see and the cultures that you can be influenced by. So I always would tell people, as soon as you possibly can, go travel, go to places you've never been. Start, if you don't have a lot of money, start within your own city or state. Then you go out in your own country. If I go over to Europe and I can see how they're doing their marketing or how people are buying, that's really important, because I don't just want to say, oh, people from the United States or people from Ohio buy this way. But if I'm around people, different people, put myself into situations that aren't the same, I believe that you are more open to seeing things that are going on in your own life that maybe you wouldn't be if you didn't travel. It's very hard to you don't get stuck in a rut of the same thinking or thinking with like everyone in your group is thinking the same, which I guess would be called groupthink, which happens a lot in marketing and happens a lot in leadership. If you get people that are all from the same background, that are all have all been to the same colleges, that all reading the same books, you're not going to get a lot of differentiation. You're not going to be able to take risks. You're not going to see opportunities. So what you want your team to do is read different books, get out there and see different places, get them interacting with different people. And when you come back together, you should absolutely get a better product or service. And then as soon as you can get outside your country and outside of the regular thinking, it's very easy to tell people who struggle in marketing or leadership that they've already been in. They basically stayed in one location their entire career, and they have a different way of speaking and talking than somebody that's seen a little bit more and is a little bit open to people from different backgrounds and different cultures. And so those are the 3 things I would recommend.
In the first part of the interview, we delved into how ENFP leadership traits helped Joe succeed in a blue ocean market. Be sure not to miss the second part, where we'll continue exploring Joe's approach to managing risk while pioneering a new market. Thanks for being with us today on Leadership from Within. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to empower your leadership journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe and share it with others. And remember, if you have any specific questions about leadership, we're just an email away. See you in the next one.